The Hoover Dam. Here, mankind bending nature to create some light in the dark. And what's really incredible about this renewable hydroelectric power, beyond that it is serving the needs of so much of the western part of the United States as well, this is what made building the Hoover Dam possible. See, it was agreed that in order to appropriate the amount of money necessary for the Hoover Dam, that repayment on that cost would have to be guaranteed by the revenue generated right here. And folks, those appropriations were paid back in full, interest included, by 1987. I like to frame that another way. With that being the case, we can think about the value of the efforts of the over 20,000 people that it took to build the dam as, well, the infinite, reaching out and caring for Americans for generations to come. Let's talk about that continued impact of the work going on right in front of us. We got 17 commercial generators. These are these larger ones here, 8 in this wing, the Nevada wing, and 9 in the Arizona wing. Each one of those generators will make up to 130 megawatts of power, all together serving around the needs of 1 million homes every year. You can see just how they are making that power here. Each one of these generators has one of these rotors, or a similar one inside. You can see the top bit of the rotor inside the generator there, that's silver in the middle of N1, the first generator here. Now, it's not on at the moment. You can see its counterpart, the light's on over there, and in those, the rotor will be spinning at 3 revolutions per second. Our most powerful commercial generator can take that spin and turn that into 178,000 horsepower. For those of you who typically think about horsepower in relation to cars, I have done a little fun math for you. You would need the combined efforts of around 200 Dodge Hellcats to approach that horsepower figure. Now, you've also got a much smaller generator right here, a rust-colored one surrounded by aluminum fencing. That is a Colton water wheel. We've got 2 of those, one in each wing, and they each make a proportionately smaller 2.4 megawatts of power. Those serve all the needs for in-house power, right here, from the elevator we took down to the lights on overhead. Now, the commercial generators, those send out power to local areas like Boulder City and Las Vegas, but that power also gets as far off as Phoenix or Los Angeles. In fact, the first 4 generators closest to us, including the one we're servicing here, were part of the first circuit to transmit power in 1936 to Los Angeles. So that means for the entirety of power generation here at Hoover Dam, the entire history of that, by percentage, Los Angeles has been the largest single city consumer of power from here. Now, you are probably wondering what is going on with the rotor we're servicing here. Well, earlier I compared the generators to cars. You might also compare a generator to a guitar. You've got, when it's on, the rotor in the middle there vibrating, humming at a certain tune like a guitar string vibrates to play a certain note. The way that we know that something is wrong with one of these rotors is if it's out of tune. And well, that's exactly what was happening with this rotor right here. The vibration analysis that we did on this rotor revealed that there was a crack in one of the arms. And so, well, we pulled it out, took it all the way apart, addressed the problem with the crack, and now we're in the process of putting it all the way back together. Now, you may also be wondering, how is it that we're going to get it back in that blank space in the 3rd generator where it normally lives? Well, if you look down the wing, that green bridge crane there with the American flag, that can lift 300 tons. Now, this rotor will be put all the way back together. This particular one will weigh around 580 tons. So, fortunately, there is an identical bridge crane behind that one that will lift the other 300 or so tons. Those cranes will make the journey down over here like there's some kind of super wide train using the rails up on the side of the wing. Each wing is 650 feet long, which I mention as well because it's a great reference to understand the massive size of the dam. See, at its thickest, the base of the dam comes in at a similar 660 feet, which you can imagine extending out just behind the wall right there. That is where the physical wall of the dam begins, and at that point you were looking upriver towards Lake Mead, along the line of generators down that way. That's following the flow of the Colorado downriver. I hope looking out over the power plant today that you do have an appreciation for the enormity of the scale and impact of the Hoover Dam. Up next, I will be bringing you back up to the surface to conclude your tour here, so if you'll just once again give me a second to